Hello and welcome to Talking Good Games. Just finished Spurs 0, West Ham United 1. The first team to score, the first team to win at their new ground. 3 happy hammers here. We're going to go through the highlights of the game, not that there's loads, and we're going to give our thoughts on the game as well, hopefully in a cheerful manner. Charlie, Anderson in the first half, decent chance for him. Should have squared it to Arnautovic, but he didn't. Then Son had his chance at the other end. Good save by Fabianski. But at half-time was 0-0 without much happening in the first half. What were you thinking at the break, Charlie?
That we didn't deserve to be in at 0-0, I think. We start at the first 5 minutes for us was the most positive we've been in that entire half. I felt like we were sort of feeling our way into the game. But once Tottenham were there, I thought they were so much better than us in that first half. They outplayed us, they outpassed us, they had more possession than us. It was just the only thing they seemed to lack was that final shot. The Son chance was the best one, and Fabianski put him out. And then there was the other one from the opposite side of the goal, where again Fabianski just darts out and somehow manages to get the block. And without him, I think we would have been lucky not to have been down 2-0. I thought we were very, very bad in that first half, and that Tottenham on another day definitely should have been leading.
Interesting. Tom, what was your analysis at halftime?
I was pleased with the performance, actually. I was sort of happy. I was sort of saying to myself, sitting watching, if we go in at half time at 0-0, I thought we had every chance in the game. I thought there was, we had pointed out in the preview, and I think we were correct in saying there was a lot of space in behind their fullbacks. I think Anderson, we could see, was going to be, causing Juan Foyt problems. The amount of times he was caught out of position going forward, and the space that he had in behind. And although we didn't necessarily have chances to finish it, I think we went into the half with more attempts and same shots on target as Spurs. So I was quietly optimistic. I thought if we come in at 0-0, I thought it was ours for the taking in the second half.
Yeah, I was a bit like Tom. I was optimistic. I thought they were sort of doing well in terms of finding the long ball down our right back position. They were playing it down there and they were getting success out of it. But I thought all 4 fullbacks / wing backs, if you like, were not playing very well in that first 45. And Anderson, Lucas, Son, even Antonio, while he was getting space now, he wasn't making the most of it. They were all getting room up against their immediate opponent, if you like. I thought West Ham in the first half, I thought we had some really good performers. Fabianski made 2 or 3 really good saves. Like Charlie's right though. We could have been 2-0 down at half time, wasn't for Fabianski, but we've said that nearly every game this season. I thought our centre backs were playing really well. I thought Noble Snodgrass and Rice were playing really well, and I thought Anderson was playing well. The problem was Arnautovic, Antonio, Fredericks, and Masuaku were all being below par / a little bit jittery or whatever. And then you see the effect in the second half. So I was optimistic, if you like. And Charlie, it was almost like we need to talk about this in an honest way, because we know what happens after this opportunity. So we need to sort of try and put that to one side. But we had our best chance of the game, a 4-on-3 break with Antonio, and he somehow managed. He had 2 options, pass or shoot, and chose a third one, which was tackle yourself.
Oh yeah, he was dispossessed by his own touch. It was a thing of beauty. It really was. It's not even. Sometimes you see players. Moura did it a couple of times in this game. I think Son did it as well, where they'll take a touch, sort of pass it off to the side, and then run into a player to try and win a foul. Antonio just ran past the ball and straight into the defender, and you went, okay, well, that went well then, didn't it? He is the most frustrating player in the world at times. And by times, I mean 89 minutes of a match. He just he does just weird stuff that if you had half a second to think, look up, and it wasn't even the Anderson chance we mentioned in the first half, he just doesn't look up, doesn't see the players, and so goes for the shot. And it's frustrating because you think if you look up, maybe you could cut it back or whatever. All the players are directly in front of Antonio. He can see everyone, all the Spurs players, all the West Ham players, and his brain goes, I can see an inch of space and I'm going to run directly through it. You're not, mate. You're not, and you never will. But yeah, it was he's a frustrating person to watch play football at times. He really, really is.
But he redeemed himself, Charlie. In the 66th minute, Marko Arnautovic found himself out on the right. A lovely little chip dink into Antonio's chest. He has a lot to do, though, Antonio. I know everyone's applauding the assist, and I think this is good. But it's not an easy chance he's got here. And you said Antonio sometimes only turns up for 1 minute in a game, your words. But he turned up for this 1 minute, and what a difference it makes, Charlie.
Oh, what a player. Never doubted him. No, Arnautovic's ball in you can't downplay it enough. That ball was utterly incredible. Like, he hits it slightly early, so the defenders are off. He bends it perfectly into the path of Antonio. And like you say, Antonio has a lot to do, and he does exactly what he needs to. His first touch, although it seemed heavy at the time, takes it away from the defender, and then he absolutely blasts it past the goalkeeper. He does exactly what he needs to do. And he has this thing where I'm honestly not sure if he knows how bad he is. I think he just tries stuff and then it happens sometimes. And this was one of those occasions where you have to have the audacity and the confidence to go for it. Otherwise, you probably try and control it, try and place it or whatever. He just puts his laces for it. It's the exact right thing to do. And fair play, because like you say, there's a lot to do. And Arnautovic's ball may have been absolutely perfect, but there is a lot to do after that. And he absolutely nails it.
Tom, Antonio's go for you, but during this game, the whole game, if you like, we've sort of seen the both sides of Antonio, haven't we? We've seen the good side and the not so good side.
Yeah, I was laughing before because it just, I said saying to you before we came on, it epitomised Antonio as, when he had a breakaway chance and he tries to control with his foot and it somehow ends up coming twatting off of his face, and it makes me laugh sometimes. I'm happy with him today because he's, obviously he's scored the winner, but my God, is he a painful watch for 90 minutes? He really is. He's just funny. Like, if you just look at him, you just think you should not play football for 90 minutes. Like, I mean, he works his socks off, don't get me wrong. Today he did put in 110% and he ran. And when the chance fell to him, fair enough, like, he took his chance. I was fully expecting that shot to go 60 yards over the bar. Like, I was not expecting that. And I don't want to sound too critical of him because he's obviously scored the winner today. But, most times, like you've both sort of said there, in the build up to play and, when it comes to just executing simple things, he just does not have the technical ability to do it. He is the kind of player that will just knock the ball 30 yards in front and then try and catch me, because nobody will. He's too fast and he's too strong. But no, it's like you said, it's kind of the dynamite. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's kind of the two sides you get with Antonio. He's just, sometimes he's absolutely brilliant. He looks like a world beater, and then for the other 70, 80 minutes of the game, he just looks like a League One player. It's a funny old thing to have, but yeah, he was glad he got the winner today.
Yeah, I like him. He's got a mentality though that you need. You need a mentality like him, and Anderson's got the complete opposite mentality that if Anderson tries something and doesn't come off, we can see Anderson sort of shrink a little bit and go, but Antonio doesn't. Antonio constantly keeps going, keeps trying, and he sort of, his confidence or self-belief, whatever it is, there's something that keeps driving him, that he doesn't give up and he keeps going, and he gets his reward for it with that goal, because there was a couple of opportunities that he sort of maybe not killed the attack, but that 4-on-3 in particular, you can see how the other teammates were getting frustrated with him. They were all waving his arms at him and saying, what are you doing here and stuff. It'd be very easy to put your head down and go, oh, well, I don't fancy it anymore. But he doesn't. He keeps going. And that run that he made for the goal, he makes that run every single game. He makes it all the time. He's always trying it. And his first touch is perfection. I know Charlie says it's not what he, maybe a little bit iffy, but he just takes Sanchez out of the game completely. If Sanchez touches him, it's a penalty. It's as simple as that. So Sanchez has to let him shoot. And the question there is, can you now beat Lloris? Well, Antonio gave us the answer by thundering it into the back of the net. And if there's one player that sort of deserves it, there's a handful of players, and every team's got them, that just deserves luck, deserves goals, etc., just by pure determination, hard work. And I'd say Antonio and Snodgrass are those two players at West Ham, because they never, ever shirk their responsibilities, if you like. Now, Anderson's had a good game today. I'm not talking about today's game, but other games in the past, we're wondering where he is at times. With Antonio, you're never wondering that. He's always there. He's always in the limelight, and he's always grafting. Pellegrini then started ringing out the changes, understandably. Obiang came on for Snodgrass. Marko Arnautovic departed for Lucas Perez, and Martin Noble went off for Ogbonna. And then two centre-backs to talk about just quickly. Tom, first one, Diop. What was that all about? He makes an interception at halfway, skins a couple of players, finds himself practically one-on-one, and then we see a centre-back's effort at goal, really.
I know. It was like watching Ravel Morrison from all those years ago, skinning Spurs players and taking it, over the halfway line. It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, that kid today, wow. Why has he been on the bench for the last few weeks? Jose Mourinho got it right at the start of the season. Whoever it was for identifying him, he's an absolute monster, and not just for his defensive capabilities, but he's a lot similar to Rice in as much as he always wants to sort of play out. He wants to move forward with the ball. and today he was just nothing short of just excellent. I don't think he put a foot wrong all game. I thought Balbuena and him both together, I thought their partnership was rock solid. But he just looked like a grown man today. I know he's only sort of 21, 22 years of age, but he played with such. I'm going to find the right word for it, but he just looked so calm and collected back there. And to say he's not been in the lineup for the last few weeks, he showed no rust coming back into the team. And I thought he was just head and shoulders other than maybe potentially Mark Noble, probably the best player on the pitch for both sides today. I thought he was absolutely immense.
Yeah, and the stats for Diop is impressive today. Most interceptions in the game, the most blocks in the game, the most tackles in the game as well. Fantastic performance. Now the other centre back, Charlie, his partner Balbuena, in the 93rd minute, Vincent Janssen thought he finally got his goal for Spurs. He peels away from Balbuena, gets his header on goal, and there he is, just knock it off the line practically. I mean, that's the equivalent of a goal.
It is, yeah. It was utterly brilliant to see him just sort of. It's so nonchalant as well. It wasn't stressed. It wasn't panicked or anything. He just sort of almost passed it off the line as if it was on the halfway line as opposed to the goal line. It was really well done from him. And I think seeing them both together, I sort of forgot how nice it was. I said before the game that I wouldn't have started Diop. I would have kept resting him. But then I can't remember. But there was a moment in the first half where I realised that we had Fabianski, Diop, Balbuena, and Rice again, and I just sort of went, "Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it?" It's just calming, and they work so well together and seem to have, even just today, it's their first game back playing together, and yet they seem to have that telepathic connection back like they did before. When one steps forward, the other one stays back. They sort of both know how to play with each other, and I think, as Tom said, I think Diop had a wonderful, brilliant game, and I think Balbuena also had a really, really good game. And from now until the rest of the season, I don't see why we would change those two in particular together.
Charlie finished 1-0. Where's it going right today? What's impressed you today about the tactics, the team performance, etc.?
I was really impressed by the fact we actually played counter-attacking football. Usually our build-up play is so immensely slow that even if we are counter-attacking, it takes us about 40 minutes to get up the pitch. Whereas today we did it really well. There were times both in the first half and second half where we would play sort of semi-long balls to about the halfway line, and we were one touch and then we were around the back of their fullbacks. We actually played quick football, which is something we don't see often enough. And then when we did sit back, we were very, very solid, and our high line actually worked for once. The Tottenham kept drifting offside in stupid small ways, and we just seemed assured. Even in that, towards the end, when everyone sort of, the panic was building and the group chats were all blaring with people shitting themselves, I didn't really feel it. I just sort of went, you know what, actually, I think we've kind of got this. I didn't feel that panicked towards the end, and that's a huge, huge credit to the team performance, because I think everyone put in a shift worthy of winning 1-0 away at Spurs.
Tom, your overall opinion on the game?
I thought something that we haven't sort of been able to say for the past, I want to say, few games, and that is I thought we were better in midfield today. And I know obviously we were great on the counter-attack at times, especially in the second half, but I thought we ran that midfield excellently well. I thought Mark Noble had one of his best games of the season. I thought he marshalled that those Spurs players, Dyer and who else was in midfield with? Help me.
That says all the fact you can't remember. It was Eriksen and Ali, but
exactly. And I think that's a testament to what he did today. I think he broke the play up perfectly. I don't think Declan Rice had one of his better games. I thought maybe a lot of the players were better in the second half. But Noble just, a couple of little Cruyff turns, a couple of little pirouettes, his ball through to Arnautovic that didn't end up in anything, but his vision was there today. He was absolutely all over the pitch, and rightfully so. 5 minutes to go, and he looked frustrated with Pellegrini that he took him off. I think more than anything, it sort of said to the fans that believe that his legs have gone, it's sort of, that's the kind of Mark Noble performance that is still there, and maybe it's not as consistent as it used to be, but he still has that kind of performance in his locker. And I thought, that was a massive thing today, was that midfield against Spurs' midfield. They weren't as strong as having maybe a Sissoko or a Wanyama in there as to start, and I just thought we marshalled them excellently. And I think it's just it's a credit to Noble to having his fitness levels as they are, to be able to do that for 90 minutes still, in the peak of his career almost, or the latter stages of his career. No, I thought he was absolutely excellent today, and I think that was probably where the area of the game that was won.
I thought we were brilliant. Pellegrini got his tactics spot on today. He outdone Pochettino. Pochettino gets all the applause. It's rightly so. He's a good manager. We're talking about the 90 minutes though, and Pellegrini got one up. Pochettino. Even his substitutions didn't really affect us in any way. Threw on Llorente, Janssen. Our centre backs coped easily enough with them. Yes, they had a chance at the end, but our centre back was there to clear it and stuff. There was a reaction at half time from us. We were a lot better in the second half. We were a lot faster. The players I thought were having an iffy first half, Fredericks, Masuaku, and Avic, they all turned up in the second half. They all upped their game. So whatever Pellegrini or Martin Noble or whoever said or did at half time worked, because we've seen a better West Ham in the second half. We weren't bad in the first half, just seen an even better one. I echo what Tom's saying. There was 2 England defensive midfielders out there on the pitch, but one of them played well. The other one barely got a sniff of the game. Martin Noble did that dummy, didn't he, and sent Dyer the wrong way, for example. There were players out there who were enjoying that game. You could almost tell they were enjoying playing that game out there. The football was good. Every time we broke in the last 15 minutes of the game, I thought we might have scored. Every time we got the ball into Tottenham's third, I thought, here we go, we're on here. And it was refreshing to see. The confidence was there. And the last couple of months, since January, really, we've been watching a few subpar performances, and the effort hasn't been there. But today, it was fantastic. And I just hope we see this for the last 2 games of the season. We do our best to finish as high as possible. Individual performances, now this is going to be interesting because there's a lot of players we can talk about. Tom, I'll start with yourself. Take your pick.
Well, I've just obviously done a big bit on Noble and a big bit on Diop. I thought Balbuena again, excellent today. I thought his clearance off the line in the end, if you get a chance to watch it later on a match of the day, because obviously a replay couldn't really have been shown in the closing moments like that, but it's an absolutely unbelievable block off of the line. He does superbly well. Fabianski thought absolutely brilliant once again, making his claim there for Hammer of the Year, makes a brilliant save in the first half to keep us in it. The fullbacks today, I thought Masuaku was all right. I thought him and Anderson worked well together, overlapping down that left-hand side. I was surprised that there wasn't as much as a threat sort of when Masuaku was coming forward. I expected maybe that, like I said in the build-up show, about the killer pass from Eriksen, but it never really seemed to come. So I think sort of Masuaku almost grew in confidence that he could get forward and wasn't, sort of worried as such. Couldn't say the same for Fredericks and Antonio. I don't think there's that sort of same connection down the right-hand side. But, he did well for that little part, Fredericks. I think, there was 5 or 10 minutes in that second half where he made an excellent defensive challenge. My heart was in my mouth. I was thinking shades of Man United again when he went sliding in there, but it was a brilliant tackle. But I think everybody, there were players there. I don't think there was anybody below a 7 out of 10 today. And obviously I think Diop and Noble were the standout performers. I think Arnautovic is obviously he made an assist. He was all right, but listening at half time, he had 7 touches in the first half. He wasn't making the runs. He wasn't getting into the play. And fair enough, he didn't have this sort of service. So it was a bit frustrating to watch. And I know he got the assist, and I think that's what pisses me off more than anything with him, is because he has the talent to be able to pick a pass like that, or to be strong enough and to work hard, but we just don't see it often. And obviously whatever's happened in January with his move away has affected that. So, it was a great ball by him, but I guess he kind of still left wanting better from him. But no, I think it was just an absolutely solid performance from all the lads out there today.
Charlie, individual performances?
Yeah, I think everyone deserves credit for at least some portion of the game. Even people who I think weren't very good over the entire 90 minutes. For example, Fredericks, towards the end, made some very, very good tackles. And I think the same could be said for Masuaku, although I don't think he played particularly very, very well. There were times where he played a good ball or made a nice run forward or did something smart. And I think everyone deserves credit for portions of the game. Just to pick up on what Tom said about Diop as well, I think that he reminds me of Kouyaté if Kouyaté realised he was a centre-back. He sort of has the pace and the strength, and when he goes forward, he can sort of outpace and outmuscle players, but he also has the intelligence to realise that he's not prime Andrea Pirlo and can't pass the ball for anything. So that's something I love about him. And when he does come out defence, I'm confident he'll at least keep possession and won't mess it up. Fabianski, I think, again, deserves a lot of credit, especially for that first half. I think without him in that first half, we would have been down. He just, it's that thing I said about being calm. Now I've seen the centre backs and the DM that we got. It's just the calming effect that none of our other goalkeepers have had for so long. When that chance did happen in the first half and they broke through, he just rushed out like a lightning and blocked it like it was nothing. And it's so, it's just nice having a good goalkeeper, man. Like I've liked a lot of our goalkeepers, but Jesus Christ. And Arnautovic again, I think deserves credit for that second half performance. First half, I think it was both him not playing very well and also not getting any service. But then in that second half, he sort of seemed to wake up and drop into deeper positions and get involved in the play more often. And that front three started to sort of rotate a bit, move around somewhat, and it started to cause Tottenham serious problems. But like Tom said, I think everyone deserves credit today for at least some portion of the game, despite some people having flaws maybe in the first half or whatever.
I thought everyone did really well. I think as a performance of a pair of centre-backs, I think that's one of the best performances I've seen from West Ham centre-backs as a pair for a long, long time. They were absolutely superb. Balbuena and Diop, fantastic. I thought Fredericks, the first half he was a bit jittery, he was getting targeted, but in the second half, he made some crucial interceptions and tackles in there. He grew into the game as well. It's good to see. I thought Anderson was really, really good today, actually. He didn't do anything. There's no assists or that from him, but I thought he was brilliant. Every time he got the ball, he looked dangerous. He was running, covering a lot of ground with the ball at his feet, which is what we want to see. He was trying to open up the Spurs defence. We were quite quick as well, I thought, when we were breaking. We were quite quick at passing to one another. There wasn't much sort of selfishness, if you like. We were fluid, we were open. Really good all round, to be honest. There's one player I'll keep for the man of the match, let you'll tell who it is, but Fabianski was just superb as well. He's just an absolute rock. He's possibly the nicest guy in football as well. 1-0 up against Spurs, away from home, and he just refuses to time waste. His goal kicks, he's taking him normal. He's catching out there and standing on his feet rather than rolling around. He's literally the nicest bloke in football. He's got to be the most professional guy. But performance all around was really, really good. Pellegrini's subs were good as well. I can see why he took Noble off. He wanted to tighten up the back but keep that threat going forward in case we had the second one. So I thought they were, everybody. Tom said everyone gets a 7 out of 10. I think everyone gets an 8 out of 10 overall today. We have to remember here, I think we have to remember who we were playing. We're playing the third best team in the Premier League here. Now, I don't care if they're missing Harry Kane. They've only played 4 games on the new ground, but they're not even conceded a goal in that 4 games. They're in the Champions League semi-final. We are arguably playing, if you're going by results, etc., one of the top 4 teams in Europe this season. They're third in the Premier League, in the Champions League semi-final. We've just beat them in their own backyard. And I'll tell you what, in that second half, I can't recall Fabianski having to make a difficult save, to be honest with you. I know Balbuena had that clearance off the line at the end, but the second half was a good half I've seen from West Ham in a long, long time. We kept Spurs at arm's length. Eriksen was pulling the strings in the first half. There was a couple of balls he did. Second half, didn't see him. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we got tighter to him or what, but didn't see him at all in the second half. We were fantastic. And we've just beat Spurs. This is the one game you want to win. This is it. I know they're going to say this is your cup final. I don't really care. This is the one game of season I want to win away to Spurs. But Tom, can I get your final thoughts, please, on your man of match?
Yeah, final thoughts. I think I'm trying not to. I'm not annoyed because I see, I can see the live chat. I can see people saying about, potentially me or us, or saying about slagging off Antonio. I think the idea is I have to come in here and I have to sit and I have to be objective. And I think I see Antonio today, and yeah, by all means, I think he's had a brilliant game in terms of scoring the goal. But it's just, there's the parts of his game. He's an enigma, and I think it's frustrating that, I guess we all have different opinions on how he should play. But I can't very well sit there and be the happy West Ham fan and say, oh, he was absolutely excellent for 90 minutes, because he wasn't, because there was parts of his game that were great. I can't sit with the claret and blue, tinted goggles on and say he was absolutely excellent, because there are parts of his game that he struggled with. So, I want to sit there and say everybody's brilliant, but I'm trying to be objective in terms of the way I, see the game. So, but other than that, yeah, I thought we were absolutely excellent today. And like you said, it's always the game you want to get up and win, even though it is our cup final. And I thought we were absolutely brilliant. I think it shows how we can be. The last 3 games we've played at such a great level in terms of our intensity, playing away from home at United and Spurs. And really, we've deserved 9 points in our last 3 games. I thought Pellegrini in the last few weeks has tactically got it spot on. And hopefully, with a good transfer window, it's signs of what we can achieve next season. It's just been frustrating that certain decisions have gone against us this season. But overall, I think that it's bright signs for next season under Pellegrini, and hopefully now I think none of us really expected us to pick up points away at Spurs. If we can finish with a couple of wins against Southampton and Watford, who knows where we might finish a point off of the Europe places. We're fighting for it still, which is the main thing. So it's not flip flops and beach towels just yet. There's a couple more games to play, and I hope that the boys will turn up for those games as well.
Your man of match, Tom?
Oh yeah, after all of that, it's the Diop. It's the Diop. I know who you're going to give it to, and I completely agree with why you were going to give it to him, Gio. But it's a Diop for me. I think he was absolutely immense for someone that's just come in again from being shut out and been on the bench for the past few weeks. Shows why he was one of the sort of higher rated centre halves and why we paid all that money for him. He's excellent. And for such a young man, he's so composed, and I hope that he's here for a few more seasons, because I think, unfortunately, like Declan Rice, people are going to come in, to pick players like that from us in a couple of years, because he could be a great centre half in the future, not just for a mid-tier team like us. I'm talking top tier. If he played like that every week, so for me, it's a Diop.
Charlie, your final thoughts on the game and your man of match, please.
Yeah, Diop can go as far as he wants in the game. Shout out to the live chat. Antonio's not very good. We'll just get out of the way. I think that we deserve a huge amount of credit, and so does Pellegrini. I think we always step up against the big teams. There's always something about us that just seems a bit more confident, a bit more energetic against teams that we should have less chance of beating. It's the ones where we play against the smaller teams where I get more frustrated, because I see that we just don't put in the effort required, I don't think. And today, that midfield three that we had was the one I wanted to start, because I knew it would put in all of the effort required to beat Tottenham. Going up against a derby in a game like this, I wanted three people in that midfield who are going to put in maximum amount of effort, and if they need to, just two-foot some people. And those are the three that you would want. You would want Rice, you'd want Snodgrass, and you'd want Noble in that role, because they're the people who will do it, because they're the ones who work the hardest, they're the ones who try the hardest, and I think they're the ones who can win a game for you in a situation like this. And the fact that Tom couldn't remember who Tottenham were playing in midfield shows just how well they played. And I think that you can stretch out across the entire pitch. Everyone put in as much effort as they could. There were problems in that first half, but that second half, there's very, very little criticisms you could say at us. And again, the fact that I didn't feel nervous at all towards the end of the game. Obviously, I felt a bit, but I wasn't scared like I usually am. I just went, do you know what? I actually think we've got this. I think we've got the people. We're trying hard enough. We're running hard enough. And Tottenham don't look like they have answers for that. And that is amazing to see. To go up against, like you say, a team who have got a Champions League semi-final coming up, who have just moved into their new stadium and have played really well at it. Not like a usual new stadium move where there's struggles and jitters. No, they've been great there. And we just looked confident. We rolled up to them and like, okay, cool. What have you got? Let's bring it. Throw on all your strikers. That's all right. We've got Diop. We've got Balbuena. We've got people to just stand there and go, nah, you're not going to score today. And that's amazing to see. And it's super, super joyous, regardless of the opposition, just to see a performance like that. It is brilliant. Man of the match, though, for me, has to go to Mark Noble. I think that man just ran the game. That pass he did, I think it was the first half, or was it second half, the one where he just sort of bends it round the defender. I can't even remember who it's for, but he just bends it round. That one, it's brilliant, utterly brilliant. He steps up to it, and again, I was talking like Chiarte thinks he's prime Pirlo. That was prime Pirlo. He just bent it round the defense like there was nothing there, perfectly weighted, runs onto it like nothing, and he just, when he is on his day, you can say what you want about Noble, and I think his brain, he has a football brain where I think he sees the game faster than some other people, and I think he can do stuff that other people can't do because he just sees it happen. And that's something where whenever he's not on the pitch, I think we miss. And he was absolutely brilliant today. I think he deserves all the credit, and to see him almost annoyed at coming off is, again, something you want to see. You want to see him go, no, I want to stay on. I want to win this game. We've got this. I can do this. And we can talk about, I think he's only got maybe one more year at the top level left, if that. But for just seeing him play, it's just, I don't know. It just fills you with pride, man. West Ham born and raised in it. So,
Tom, your final thoughts?
No, it's not a final thought, but it's just more of a question. I think if Yarmolenko was fit and he was playing this season, I'm guessing all three of us would have him in the starting 11 above Antonio, or is that Are you different in that perspective? I know it's not to the game now today, but when we talk about people talking about his technical ability and whatnot, if it was down to me, I would be playing Yarmolenko every single week. It would not be Antonio. And I know he's had some vital goals for us in the last few weeks, but just like I said, I think his technical ability lacks.
Start Antonio at right back. I'm starting the petition. Put him back at right back. That's all I want.
Let's get this back onto the review. Tom's trying to dig himself out of an Antonio shit.
I'm not.
But there's
I hate the guy.
To answer your questions, too many variables. It depends who we're playing, form, etc., etc. But I get what you're saying. But I've already mentioned the centre backs. I thought this was a very professional performance by us. And some people say, I know this is a broader topic, and I just told Tom not to do that, but some people say, has this season been a success? Now, in terms of league position, no, it's not been. But in terms of games like this, you have to look at it and say, well, yes, it is, because we're demonstrating that we're sort of trying to advance about how we play football, how we approach games, how we see out games, etc. Today was a perfect example of it, because if you could pick up this second half from today and move it to August next season, you think fantastic. This is the blueprint we want to see at West Ham. Fast counter-attacking football, really good defenders, good goalkeeper, a solid midfield three, etc. That's what we want to see. So we've got enough to go on today, and today is just, it's beating Tottenham as well, isn't it? That just makes it extra special. Added in as the first one at their ground. They're going to hate it. Let's be honest, they're going to hate it. We'll have Spurs fans in the comments here purely because they're going to be pissed off that West Ham have won at their ground today. They'll probably be reminding us they're in a Champions League final and they don't really care about today. But they do, because this could have a big impact on their top four and for the rest of the season. They're still not quite in the top four, etc. But there's so many good performances today and positives to take out of this. And Pellegrini's team to start against Southampton's already done. It's the same one that just started today. It's sorted. The midfield three was brilliant. As Charlie said, they all worked hard. They did exactly what they wanted. They don't have the same technical ability as Eriksen. Eriksen's the best out of the six that started today, for example. But we put him off his game. He did about 2 good passes, and that was it. We were brilliant out there. My man match is an obvious one, and that's Mark Noble. I thought he ran the game from start to finish. He controlled the tempo. I thought there were a couple of times Tottenham were trying to start to turn the screw a little bit and starting to move the ball a bit quicker. The ball would get to Noble, and he would just take about 6 or 7 touches, but he's just killing the game. He's just killing Spurs' tempo. He's just saying, let's just keep it in the West Ham colours for 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, but let's just try and keep it for 5-6 passes here. And let's just kill it out a little bit. And he did it. And at one point in the first half, Fredericks was struggling. Mark Noble started playing a bit closer to Ryan Fez, just to say, okay, because you're struggling to pass to Antonio, and Antonio's struggling to pass to you, so I'm going to come in here and act as the pivot between you, so you can both use me, etc. I thought Mark Noble was just incredible out there today, and I don't really like seeing him pissed off when he went off, because I would criticise Hernandez when Hernandez does that thing with his lips, and he goes, he does what he always does, and Arnautovic waves his arm. I don't like seeing that. I don't like people disagreeing with the manager physically for everybody to see. Do it in the changing room, do it in the manager's office, do it in the training pitch, away from everybody. So I'm not going to use one rule for Noble. Of course he's going to be disappointed, but at the same time, it was 5 minutes to go, and Pellegrini was trying to see the game out, and he made the right sub, I think. Pellegrini in the end, but Martin Noble's man match, absolutely superb out there. But anyway, you guys, you enjoyed this video on my live chat, not all of you. Drop a like on the video, leave your comments below as well, and subscribe if you're new around here. Just to defend myself and these two, I suppose. We're just reviewing the 90 minutes, and in the first half, we're just being honest. That's all. We've been honest all season. We're going to be honest for the rest of the season. We'll be honest for next season, and that is that players deserve credit at sometimes, but they also didn't do too well at others. So they're just saying what they think, and that's all I ask of them, encourage them to do. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in a bit.